Florida to license more black marijuana farmers, and the adult use campaign tops 60 million. So, 3 black farmers in Florida are eligible, that's right, 3, are eligible to receive medical marijuana cultivation permits under a bill Governor Ron DeSantis recently signed into law. The potential expansion comes as the campaign to legalize recreational marijuana heats up in the state, with total spending now reaching an industry record-setting $60.1 million, according to a campaign finance database. Meanwhile, DeSantis is continuing his crusade against adult use, saying that legalization would turn Florida into San Francisco or Chicago. God forbid. Orlando Weekly reported. Though license-capped Florida has no social equity program designed to encourage minority participation in the state's regulated cannabis industry, black farmers are eligible for special permits under a 2017 law. State officials received applications from 12 so-called Pigford candidates, named for a class action suit in which black farmers accused the federal government of discrimination, but granted only 1 license to Terry Donwell Gwynn in 2022. Rejected applicants later challenged that licensing decision in court. But Gwynn and another black family finally received marijuana cultivation licenses in 2023 after DeSantis signed House Bill 387 into law. Now, with DeSantis signing Senate Bill 1582 into law last week, the state can award cultivation licenses to 3 more black farmers, according to the News Service of Florida. Sorry, I just almost laugh every time I read the number 3. Despite the governor's recent actions, 73 applicants are still vying for 22 vertically integrated licenses to operate dispensaries, which Florida calls medical marijuana treatment centers, aka MMTCs. Those hopefuls who paid $146,000 application fees in April 2023 are waiting for state regulators to award permits. If more than 60% of state voters approve Amendment 3 in November, adults 21 and older will be able to purchase recreational cannabis at existing MMTCs. With 137 MMTCs in Florida, Tallahassee-based multi-state operator Trulieve Cannabis Corp. Has the largest footprint in the state. And Trulieve is betting heavy on legalization, having contributed $55.7 million toward the Smart and Safe Florida campaign since 2022, according to records. Other MSOs active in the state and that contributed to the campaign are, with their assorted amount, Verano Holdings, $2.25 million, Curaleaf, $2 million, Air Wellness, $500,000, GTI, $500,000, Cresco Labs, $400,000. Standing in their way is DeSantis, who has pledged to use cash raised by his newly created Florida Freedom Fund to mount a campaign opposing the recreational marijuana measure, as well as abortion rights. So the Freedom Fund opposes weed and abortion. Got that. In comments Tuesday, DeSantis struck a familiar culture war tone. Adult use legalization would turn Florida into a more liberal state. Oh my God, the horror. We are working with a lot of stakeholders who are interested in making sure that we defeat Amendment 3, which would basically do marijuana wherever you want, just smoke it, take it, he said to Orlando Weekly. We already have medical marijuana, it's out there, but we got to keep our streets clean. We cannot have every town smelling like marijuana. So that's it. You have it there, folks. I mean, obviously it's good news, but it's ridiculous good news out of Florida. This is supposed to be progress. A lot of thoughts, but I'll turn it over to you guys. Rico, I'd love to hear what you think about this. And once again, this is Elise McRoberts, the Hashanista, reporting for High at 9 News out of Marin County, California.
I think it's bittersweet. They should have been first to get their licenses a long time ago. The guy died and they wouldn't grant the license. It should be 4. The guy died and they wouldn't grant the license to his daughter because this thing has dragged on for so long. The whole Bigford case was settled in 1999, and they were supposed to be get first crack at these cannabis cultivation licenses, but they went to these big corporations. So like now, are they going to be able to compete, or they're going to have to get in bed with these corporations? So I don't know, man. I'm torn on this. Like, I'm happy they finally came to some kind of clearance on this, but it's a shame that it's taken this long. And one of the guys who was listed who should have been granted, like his family's not going to be able to benefit from it. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Like, I don't know. I'm interested to hear what Dale has to say about this, like from a legal standpoint.
One of the problems has been the reversal of affirmative action through the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That's been a sticking point. But I can tell you, I have a couple of social equity applicants that are Black females, and it has been a tough row to hoe because scraping together the money has been difficult. You have to, give away the store. If you're the social equity applicant that requires 51% to be there, you end up giving away through secret backroom agreements all power, control, and economic advantage from that position you're in, because you can't scratch together the money to sit there and twiddle your fingers for years while you drain money.
Yep.
Now, or you go to the government and the government gives you money and then you're obligated to pay it back. There's no way that this is made easy for, basically Black and brown people, and especially females. It's not made easy, okay? Because the system just doesn't put money out there like it does for other potentially profitable businesses. And it's sad. And DeSantis is just blowing smoke out his ass right now. This is the law enforcement talking points that I hear. And I just, I don't know what to say, because these social equity applicants are friends of mine, and I know personally what happens to them. And it's just hard to stand there and watch this happen when the courts are not going to be supportive of decisions made, because affirmative action, the pendulum has swung clear back the other direction right now. And it's just sad to watch it.
You know what should
You're right, Elise. 3 is bullshit. Where's that number coming from?
You know what I feel like with all of these social equity programs, I feel like I've just came up with, I think, a viable model that would actually work for social equity if they would have started it off like this. You basically, here's how it'll work, Rico. I want to hear what you guys think in regards to this, if this would work. So basically, you qualify as a social equity applicant, and you're able to open up your business. And based off the type of business that you have, you would qualify for a government funding loan. Mm-hmm. Okay, it would be at 0 interest. You wouldn't payments would not start until after the first 5 years of the first initial financial transaction happening. And not to mention that the state would also provide a business coach for you to help you with making decisions on how you want to operate your business, like the Big Brother program. And then you give those businesses of people that participate in that a tax credit for their person from that company going and donating that time for community service purposes. And I feel like that would actually work if we really wanted to make this work.
They don't want to make it work.
But do you think that would work? Do you think that would work?
I don't know, because there's always going to be people screaming about it wasn't fair. Like my people.
But how does that not make it fair? That makes it fair. Like if you can operate a business, we're going to put a business coach in there.
Are you going to have all of the resources to train all these people? Where are those resources going to come? Are you going to have people complaining about, oh yeah, I don't want my tax dollars going to this or to that? Like that's how America.
I don't care. I don't care about the tax dollar argument, because people are always going to say that about every single topic, regardless.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You might not care about it, but there's a lot of districts, there's a lot of places where it's not going to get passed because of bullshit like that.
We're not talking about all that. We're just trying to say, do you think this program would work or not if it was set up like that?
I don't know.
We got the votes. We got the votes, and now it's the national model in all states.
I do not know. Like somebody else want to pick it up. Like I don't even like talking in hypotheticals like that. I have been firm from the beginning. Social equity should not be a thing. We should talk reparations. Like shit like this, when people have been fucked over by the government And a class action lawsuit proved that to be so 25 years ago. And they're still suffering from that. And then you look at fucking Black Wall Street, that settlement, like out in Oklahoma, they're passing the buck and saying there's no way we can quantify like how these hundreds of people got killed and everything. We know that it happened, but we can't tell who did it or like how many people like it should be. Basically, we're not on the hook for paying you or your descendants for murdering hundreds of fucking people. That's how America works. Period. It all comes down to like, oh, well, we don't have the money to do that. We understand and we're sorry that it happened, but let's just move forward. That's how America fucking works. And it doesn't work for everybody how it should. Period. Burn it down.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Speaking.
Well, Jason, I can tell you, I operate out of Sacramento here.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento has provided loans. They have provided training programs. Okay. And so when I sit down with my client and I find out that no one ever taught them the problems they're in, and it's like, okay, I'll teach you, but it's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a possibility for me to go teach at that program now. Okay. And go in there. You know, I don't bullshit people. I tell them this is where you're going to go off the cliff. These training programs, in my experience, they do not prepare someone for the industry they're walking into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so they then have to go hire me. And, you know, and I charge for my services. I'm a nice guy, but goddamn it, I charge for my services. And I got to get you out of trouble here. And programs to give them money is great because it gets the white boys from Orange County out of the equation that have a lot of money in their pocket to do some of the dirty shit I've seen. The training programs are a whole nother story here. Because most of the people, they don't have experience in business, okay? So they're preyed upon by a lot of people. And preparing someone to be running a corporation or you know, managing member of an LLC or something like that, that takes time. And if you make a mistake, now you're in serious trouble. Mm-hmm. You got to go hire attorneys. They don't provide legal assistance to people, and that's where the rubber really meets the road in these programs. Mm-hmm. As soon as you use the word black, okay, the affirmative action thing blows up in your face. So what we find here in California, rather than saying black, they use zip codes, okay? They use other criteria, wink, wink, nod, nod. You got, cannabis crimes and things like that. But that's not targeted to the community that really got hit hardest, the black and brown community, because you can't use those categorical terms. The whole thing's a mess. And, Rico, to your point, the United States works on specific personal responsibility. And once that person dies, you can't corrupt the blood of that person in any way. Even though we've had pogroms since New Orleans, before Juneteenth, they had their first pogrom in Louisiana. Wherever blacks stood up and got a little uppity, as they used to call it, they came and burnt the place down and hung you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I got one in my family that shot a black man for disrespecting his wife, murdered the guy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, it's horrible, but I disavow myself for the guy. But you can't make me personally responsible because of our legal system. I'm not saying it's fair, right, but it's real. It's damn sure real.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I'm never going to be. I am not the one to blame one man or one woman for the sins of their mothers and fathers, ever. But I do believe, in the state, in the country, if you have acknowledged that this wrong was done, then you need to make that person whole in some form or fashion, or they're always going to have that chip on their shoulder, period. We had this conversation, I think last year, Jason, we were talking about reparations paid out to victims of the Holocaust and Jews over in Europe. Even though it's never going to be enough to deal with all the trauma, the generational trauma that's passed on. But you know what? It's some sort of closure. It is acknowledgement that these motherfuckers did something really bad to you. And you know what? You can be like, yo, I should have got paid more, but at least it was acknowledged. And at least they did something that I can put forward and I can give this money, I can invest this money, I can give this to my kids or whatever. Like, not everybody's going to be able to run a business. Not everybody's going to have those skills. And if you got popped for, selling weed 20 years ago or some shit like that, like you were in a totally different mindset. Maybe you had the hustler's mentality then. Does not mean that's where you are right now. It doesn't mean you are going to be able to viably run a business. This is why I'm saying, like, yo, cut a fucking check. Be done with it. Cut a check. Be like, yo, like, that's when you can start moving forward, when you start giving people the economic means to actually buy the boots that you motherfuckers say, like, oh, but pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, you can't fucking buy boots if your fucking community's been destroyed time and time and time again. Just like Uncle Dale said, man, like you get uppity, you start living on your own, you start creating your own things, they burn the shit down. That is the history of America.